Please now welcome Ella, a dedicated athlete that will share her struggles in order to disseminate a message of love and support with her talk titled Thinking in Terms of X. Please welcome her on stage.
So the reason that I'm standing here and talking to you today is because I want to communicate that everyone has a different interpretation for the letter X. So what does X mean to me? It's simple. X means the exact same thing to me as it does to every single one of you. Multiple different things. There's no one set definition for the letter X. X could be literally anything you want. It could be a kiss at the end of a text message, which I use sometimes. It could be a maths variable to represent a missing figure. It could be an X-ray machine or a letter in the alphabet, because there are 26. It could be anything you want it to be. So one day, I was sitting in maths. It was about last year when I was sitting my GCSEs, and I was trying to get out of work because I'm not the best mathematician in the year, okay? I'm not very good at maths. So I was sitting in maths, and I decided that instead of doing my work, I was going to analyze and think about why we actually used the letter X instead of all the other letters in the alphabet, because there are 26, but we focused on one main one to communicate in maths, and I just didn't understand it. And yes, that was me trying to get out of my work. But as I got into it and I started to really think about why we used X, I started to realize that it could be that this X could be a metaphor for the open interpretation and variety of different choices that we have in life. If you think about it, the letter X, let's visualize it. It's 4 lines meeting at one point in the middle. These are different decisions that could lead to the same place. They're different routes that you can take. They all meet the same place because it's all about a journey. Everyone is faced with difficult decisions in their life. Whether it's difficult or easy, you're faced with decisions. It could be as simple as waking up in the morning and deciding what you're going to have for breakfast or what you're going to eat for the rest of the day. Or it could be as difficult as deciding what kind of university you're going to go to later on. Decisions are decisions, and everyone's faced with them. Everyone controls what happens to them. You may have a time in your life where you feel like you're backed into a corner. Everyone has that, when you feel like there's one option, and only that one option that you can take. But that's not true, and I'll give you an example. There are different ways to solving maths. So take a maths equation for starters. Let's have a long division question. So you've got to find out what 20 divided by 7.5 is. You can do it in multiple different ways. You can do the long division method, the short division method. You can ask a friend, you can ask a teacher, you can Google it, you can use a calculator. There are multiple different ways that you can figure out what the answer to that question is. But at the end, the answer is only revealed when you get it right. And that can be applied to real life. You can try over and over again and get something wrong, or go in multiple different ways about going to reach your final point. You can get it wrong, but it's only going to get revealed, and you're only going to realize what happened when you get to the final point. So about 3 years ago, I developed a shoulder injury. I fractured my growth plate in my shoulder because I was overtraining, because I was a very keen swimmer. I've been swimming for about 10 years. And I was so overcome with emotions. I felt sorry for myself. I was self-loathing myself. I just felt awful. I felt like I was backed into a corner with one MRI and one doctor's appointment. I walked into that office with my doctor, and he said, "You can't swim anymore." And I broke down. I didn't know what to do. So instead of actually using my talents that I had and I had built up, I decided that I was going to sit in a corner and feel sorry for myself and just waste everything I'd ever trained up to be, and just sit there and hate myself because of it. I didn't think that maybe at some point I could go out and help my coaches train other people. I didn't think that I could use what I had learned to help other people. I didn't think like that. I wasn't actually backed into a corner. I could have done more physiotherapy to help reintroduce me into my sport. I could have helped other people. I could have picked up another sport. I could have done something with my time, but instead I sat in my room and I decided that I was going to sit there and be miserable. And that's what I don't want to happen to you guys. So this is how we're going to think in terms of X. We're going to think in terms of there being multiple ways to being a journey. We're going to think in terms of X. 7 simple steps. So the first step is being honest about what you want. If you set a goal for yourself and you're not actually sure that that's what you want, or you're lying to yourself because you feel like someone else wants you to have that goal, then there's literally no point in you doing anything about it. You could sit there and be like, I want to be the President of the United States. But if that's not what you really want, whose time are you wasting? You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time and your effort that you could be spending doing something that you really want to do, that you're keen to do. And it's not going to benefit you in the long term. So step number 2 is make sure it's what you want. And this links in with step number 1. If it's not what you want, you're fooling yourself. I'll give you a real life example. After I quit swimming, I took up basketball. I didn't want to do basketball. It wasn't my sport. It's not what I wanted to do. I was fooling myself, and I spent so long training when I didn't need to, because I made a wrong decision. And this links in with step 3. Step 3 is don't conform to what society tells you to do. Don't go out and do something or set a goal because you feel like society wants you to do that, or because someone in your life wants you to do that. If your parents want you to become a doctor, but you want to be a teacher, that's fine. They're all good jobs. You just have to follow what you want to do, because at the end of the day, it's going to be you who is stuck by your side forever. People are going to come and go in your life, and you're going to be there the entire time, and you're going to be the one that is there for yourself. Step number 4, help other people so that you become rational. When something happens to yourself and you get into a situation, you don't think rationally. You think emotionally. You don't think about what you could be doing to benefit yourself. But if you take a step back and you help someone else who's having a problem, you can give them advice and be rational about that, and then take a step back and think, you know what, I've just given them advice. I can apply that to my real life. So step number 5, take time to think about if this feels right, because that's important. If you're doing something that is right and that you really want to do, it's going to feel like it. You're going to get to a point where you're like excited about what you want to do. You're going to be excited about going out and completing the next task that gets you to your journey. It has to feel right, and if it doesn't feel right, then it's probably not what you should be doing. Step number 6, your actions need to support your goals. If you want to become the President of the United States, go out and learn about the legal system. Go out and learn about politics, or get involved, vote. Do something that will help you get to your goal. Because if you don't do that, and you're sitting at home eating McDonald's on the sofa, that's not going to get you anywhere. You're just going to become lazy, and you're just going to be going for a goal that you're never actually going to achieve. It's not grasping your journey. So finally, step number 7, enjoy the journey. If you've set a goal, and the whole time you're miserable, what makes you think that you're going to be happy when you reach the goal? Because isn't life about fulfilling it and making sure that you're happy and that it's what you want to do? Life is about enjoying yourself. And if you're miserable or you don't like what you're doing, then you're just going to be miserable, and it's not going to work. So you have to enjoy what you're doing. So thinking in terms of X is about writing your own story. It's not about conforming to what other people want to do. It's not about thinking that you should be doing something because someone else wants you to. It's about actually doing what you want to do and making sure that you get there in your own time. So don't conform to what other people want, and always think in terms of X. So I want you guys to look back at this talk in maybe 10 years' time, or maybe even 2 weeks' time. I don't know what you guys are going to do. You might go out and make a decision tomorrow. But I want you to think back and look back at this talk and think, you know what, I thought in terms of X. I was rational. I didn't conform. I made sure I was enjoying my journey, and I made sure that what I was doing was right. Notice how I didn't once say X means this. Because X can mean a different thing to every single one of you. There is no set definition for X. It's open for interpretation, and that's also about picking your own story in life. You can choose, and you can do whatever you want to do. So I'm going to leave you with this quote. Understand that the right to choose your own path is a scared privilege. Use it and dwell in possibility, and think in terms of X. Thank you.